can go up to. Like, we did the comedy club in Saginaw, which is the old Moose Lodge, and we had just changed the batteries in our thermometer, and it was spiking up into the thousands. So it's just something, you know, that was really odd to us because we had just changed the battery.
Types of haunting. The first type of haunting is a residual haunting. A residual haunting is the most common and most benign type of haunting. A residual haunting is the same event that happens over and over again, like a tradition. You can't interact with the residual haunt.
An example of this is when we investigated the ship. We had just got done from investigating the 3rd floor, and on the 2nd floor they have a little hotel room. So we came and we sat down in the hotel room, and everybody was accounted for, and we heard running above us, and it was real brave. It was just like, and it stopped. And later on, we found out that the owner hears this running every morning at 4 a.m. And I think that the strangest part of the running was that this building, if you've ever been there, I mean, it's really, really old and really creaky. So it was just weird how you would hear the running and then it stopped and you didn't hear nothing else. And so, I mean, we even went back up to the 3rd floor and we couldn't find anything up there.
The second type of haunting is an intelligent haunting. And it's one of the more rare types of hauntings. And in intelligent haunting, the entity is aware of its surroundings, including people that may be in the surroundings. And it may not want the people there necessarily because it sees it as they're invading its space. And some other cases, the entity may want to communicate with only one person instead of multiple people. And because it feels a connection with that person, it may only want to talk to them.
An example of this is we did a home in Bay City, and it was an elderly woman who owned the home, and she believed that her brother was still lingering around. So we found out that he liked to smoke. So we were doing a K2 session, and a K2 session is where you sit with one of these, and you're like, you know, are you? If you're here, give me 1 blink on the light for yes and 2 for no, or something to that effect. You know, everybody does it differently. But we were asking about cigarettes, and we went through a whole list of cigarette names, or cigarette brand names. And on one particular one, the K2 meter had lit up. And later on, we had asked the owner, what kind of cigarettes did your brother used to smoke? And she told us that it was the same brand that made the K2 meter light up. So, not saying that it's necessarily paranormal, because again, those are very unreliable pieces of equipment, but you know, it's just a possibility that it could be. It's quite a coincidence.
The next form is a demonic haunting, and it's another form of an intelligent haunting. It's by a non-human entity called a demon, which can be very traumatic and violent. Demonic hauntings often start out with relatively simple paranormal activity, like small objects being moved, etc. And it quickly increases to stronger activity, people being pushed and scratched and hit, objects being thrown, furniture being moved or rearranged. And demonic hauntings are also, what's present with them is the stench of rotting flesh. And the air will feel thick and the temperature will change very drastically. And it may make people feel the overwhelming sense of anger and hate and evil. The fourth type of haunting is a poltergeist, and poltergeist is the German word for noisy spirit, and refers to a spirit that makes noises and throws small objects, and can generally be described as an obnoxious, loud nuisance. This type of activity is more mischievous than dangerous, and very few injuries or serious damage have ever been reported with a poltergeist style haunting.
And one thing I was going to say is that obviously we have never encountered anything like this, and we hope we never do. Okay, now it's time for a little bit of a fun part. On September 18th and 19th, 2009, and January 16th, 2010, we investigated the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in Weston, West Virginia. We didn't get any evidence from the July 16th date, but we did get quite a bit of evidence from the September 18th and 19th dates. So we are going to share those with you. But first we're going to give you a little history on TALA. TALA was a mental hospital which was constructed between 1858 and 1881. It is the largest hand-cut stone masonry building in North America, and it is purportedly the second largest in the world next to the Kremlin. Back when it was running, it was also known as Weston State Hospital. It was designed according to the Kirkbride plan, in which therapeutic sunlight and fresh air was let inside. Psychiatrist Thomas Story Kirkbride believed that this would heal the mentally ill. The original hospital was designed to house 250 souls, and it was open to patients in 1864. It reached its peak in the 1950s with 2,400 patients in overcrowded and generally poor conditions. Very violent murders and abuse took place at this location. Several patients teamed up on another patient and drove a bedpost through his head, killing him instantly. They later told the nurses to come see what the ghosts have done. There has been several brutal murders that have taken place at this location. This is just one example. I can give you two more examples. There was actually a male patient who had gotten his medication changed, and he was acting out because of it. So he would just go outside of his room and he would scream as loud as he could down the hallway. And one of the other patients who was more violent, he was really bothered by this. So he came up to this guy who was yelling, and he cut him from ear to ear, and he later told the nurses that he was taking up his air.